Hi friends, my name is Kayla Rain, and today I'm going to be doing my monthly recommendations for the month of July, where we are focusing on books worth a reread. So I am very excited to say that this month we have two new moderators for our Goodreads group. So we brought on two new moderators that have been contributors to the topics for a very long time now and have just been so enthusiastic about this group, and we're really excited to have them on board. So we are so happy to welcome April, Sarah, and Madeline, and I will leave links for their channels in the down bar below, and you should totally check them out. They are, like I said, regular contributors to the monthly Rex topics, and now they are also moderators and helping us come up with the amazing topics that we get to cover each month. So excited to have them. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into the books that I think are particularly worth a reread, and many of these I have already reread. So the first book that I have to recommend is Blood, Water, and Paint by Joy McCullough, and this is a book primarily written in verse, and it follows a main character named Artemisia, who was a real-life painter in, I believe, the 1600s? Yes, 1610. And this book follows her process of taking her rapist to trial in 1610 in Italy. It is a very intense book, and it is written well, so it's engaging, but I wouldn't necessarily say entertaining because the quality is quite dark and makes me uneasy at times. But I think this is going to be a book that I can go back to and just draw a lot of strength and courage from, because a lot of the topics in this book I think are still very relevant, unfortunately, and this book just helped me kind of ground myself with everything that's going on in the world today regarding sexual assault and rape. And this is definitely something that I think I will revisit in the future, which is also why I bought it, because I originally checked this out from my library and knew I had to have it because I would reread it. The next book that I have is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon, and this is a YA contemporary that follows a dual point of view, so it follows both Dimple and Rishi, and they are set up for an arranged marriage. Rishi knows, Dimple doesn't, and they get sent to the same tech camp, and that is when Rishi introduces himself to Dimple, and the story just kind of sets off from there. And this is one of those books, quite similar to Anne and the French Kiss or The Upside of Unrequited, that I know I am going to be reaching for in the future because it has such a cute premise, and the overall book is just really cute and lovely to read. So I know I'm going to reread this book because sometimes I just want something comforting and fun and light and fluffy, and this book perfectly fits the bill for that. The next book that I have is Midnight at the Electric by Jodi Lynn Anderson, and this is a book that I think I will reread because it is told with three different perspectives in different points of time, and how those stories kind of come together full circle in the end. And this particular book I think is going to be amazing to reread because, knowing what I know now, I think it'll be interesting to see how everything pieces together on the reread, which is why I picked this up, because I enjoyed it so much the first time, but I knew I was going to want to revisit it eventually and kind of see how everything came together. This is another one of those books that I just got from the library but love so much that I was like, I need this in my collection. So here we are. The next books that I have are actually a part of a series, and I know I'm going to want to reread this because it's so twisty. Like, every one of these books that have come out so far, which is actually only two, have given like this really incredible plot twist or just kind of explore something I wasn't expecting, that I know once I conclude the series I'm gonna want to go back and read it again and see how everything tied together in the first place, and like not be so deeply surprised. And that is 3 Dark Crowns and 1 Dark Throne, both by Kendara Blake, and I am so freaking pumped for the third book in this series, and I know that I'm gonna reread this series because, again, it's like so twisty and dark and complicated, and I'm gonna be really excited to read everything again once everything makes sense in the end, and then I can read it without so much anxiety. But I'll probably still have anxiety reading this, even I know who will die and who will become the queen. I also have Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is a book that I absolutely adore rereading. I really love rereading this on audiobook, and I'll be honest, I kind of skip over the fanfiction parts. It was fun the first time I read it, but the real meat of the story that I absolutely adore is everything revolving around Kath. I love her as a character so much, and this is a book that I absolutely adore to reread because I can always find myself in its pages and kind of find something new about myself with every single reread that I have. And I think that is a great mark of a rereadable book because it feels a little new each time you read it. Like you can discover something that you didn't quite see before, or you can relate to the book in a different way depending on where you're at in life. And I hope that this is a book that continues to do that. And the very last book that I have to share is Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Gracelyn. This is a book that, again, got it from the library, loved it so much, wanted to own it in my collection because I knew I'd want to reread it. But this is an adventure quest story. It's middle grade. It follows a main character who sets off on this adventure to try to bring her family good luck and good fortune. And this book is just so beautifully written and really amazing and has these gorgeous illustrations, and I'm just so excited to reread this book. And I'll probably reread it at some point this year because, you know, this real life has been difficult and dark and unfortunate, and it just feels like humanity is kind of losing touch. So for me, reading a book like this will help kind of replenish what the world is taking out of me and help me to keep moving forward and trying to make positive change in the world. So this is a book that I think is great for rereading as far as recharging yourself, because I think that's important to kind of recharge yourself and get ready for the next day to put your best self out there if possible. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but it does to me. So Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Gracelyn, a much deeper book than you would have thought. Anyway, that has been it for today's video. Those are the books that I think are definitely worth a reread. I have reread some of them already, and some of them are planned to be reread soon. I am very excited to say that we have 2 new moderators, and I hope that that helps enrich our group and keep it going and moving in a positive direction. So yeah, check out the down bar below for all of those links for those amazing people, because their channels are going to be down there, as well as my other social media sites such as Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. Y'all should totally follow me on there. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay weird.